think it was last week, or when you did the day after Ray's little Ray's podcast. I think it was that Sunday. I was dropping off Heather Grace in her class and Ray's in there. I'm like, this guy, blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm surprised you didn't talk so much about Adam Sandler in your last podcast. He's like, I know. Monty wanted me to come in at 7:30 in the morning. I said, heck no, fool.
Dude, that guy is hilarious. I forgot how funny he is. We were like recounting. We've been going through a saga of like his life, and we were talking about like high school days and like his mentality and just mentality in general for like a high school kid. And this fool said that when he would ditch class. Like most people ditch class and like they go to eat, they go to a friend's house and stuff.
Yeah.
He would ditch his class and go to another PE class, which was a freshman class, because he was scouting the upcoming prospects for girls he could date. Oh my gosh. The level of dirtbaggery, that was... At least he's honest about it, dude. That was
my God. Ain't no one looking at him either.
You know what? He did mention in the podcast that's why he went to the freshman class, because he was a sophomore and nobody knew who he was yet.
Freaking Ray, man.
Yeah, dude. I was also had another podcast with Zeke, and we're talking about essentially not judging a book by its cover. We're talking about like people who kind of walk away from the faith, and then the people who do come to the faith who you would never expect. I was like, "Fool, that was you to me. Like I never expected you to be."
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's awesome to see like this new generation rise up and take the mantle.
Yeah, man. Dropping off Heather Grayson to the class, and he's there. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Who?
Ray.
Oh. What are you gonna do, man? I've been stuck on like these debates between these two Reformed theologists, and most of the times they debate like atheists or Mormons, because they do like a lot of ministry down in like Salt Lake City, Utah. And yesterday I was watching this other video. It's like these newer cats coming up, and one of the guys who I watch, who does most of the debates, he was the moderator this time. So it was interesting watching like the old and the past, like the new generation taking the mantle. And you could tell as he was sitting there, like listening to both sides of the debate, like he wanted to interject so many times. He wanted to, because some of like what the Mormons were saying in this particular debate, it sounded a lot like Christian theology. I mean, but their theology doesn't support what those claims were. So you could tell like in the middle of it, he just wanted to be like, no, but this says this and this says this. You guys believe this? And it's been interesting to watch, like how many people come in like the name of Jesus, and it makes you realize when like the Bible says like, in that day many will say, Lord, I profess your name or proclaimed your name. Like it's like, yeah, I never really thought about it like that way, but it also says like if you come with another Jesus or another gospel, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty eye-opening.
Look, man, it's too early for theology right now.
You're talking about you had your Egg McMuffin, dog. You're not ready to go yet?
Now I want to throw up.
Oh my gosh.
Since I've been hitting the gym.
How's that been going? Your Planet Fitness?
Yeah.
Have you set off the lunk alarm yet?
The what?
That alarm that they have when you drop weights or grunt too long?
No, I don't pick up weights. All machine, baby.
So what do you do there?
Well, since I've been waking up so freaking early because of the dog. Last Monday, I sat there because I didn't want to go to work yet. I'm like, dang, what should I do? And then the last time I went to Planet Fitness was like in May. But it was charging me throughout the rest of the year, so I never went. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get my money back. So I went, and then the second day I went.
Wait, last May?
Yeah, last May. It's funny because that's when I was working at Sprouts, which was just like around the corner. Like literally, it was like right next to Sprouts. So when I leave my shift, or before I even start my shift, I'd go work out for a bit, and then either go home or go to work. And then I was doing it consistently, and I felt good. You know, mentally I was there, I was all in, I was like better prepared going home with my kids and stuff. So I took this video walking out of the gym, like it was almost midnight. I'm all showered, like I'm feeling sore but good, you know? And I record myself just for myself, like it wasn't on Instagram or anything.
Uh-huh.
And then I say along the lines of, all right, dude, you've been pretty consistent. I'm just saying everything that I feel in that moment. Like I'm good mentally, like even like spiritually, I'm opening up my word a little bit more. I feel better. Like don't quit, don't stop. And that's the last time I went. I keep thinking about that video. Oh my gosh, I hate myself. I think that's why I got this dog, because you know everyone's walking their dogs or running with their dogs like early in the morning, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Oh, you're one of those guys, huh? Who needs extra motivation?
Yeah, extra, super extra.
You don't just wake up hating yourself?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. It comes. Don't worry. That's in your future. So what are your goals? Just to get back into it right now?
Yeah, I get back into it. Typically, just get in shape. I don't even know if I'm looking to like, obviously lose the stinking gut that I have. Because when I play video games and I look over the mirror, I'm just like, ugh.
As your friend, I love you, and I wish your business success. When I see you're growing a third neck while simultaneously not having one, I'm like, this guy needs to.
If I see any videos of myself and I look like at the back of my neck wearing a hat and I see the little bit of fat sticking out of the hole from the snapback, I'm like, oh gosh.
You know what's bad when you start growing a face on the back of your head from all the rolls? Just as long as you don't get there, you'll be all right.
Yeah. So, you know, just trying to sustain.
What about your diet? Obviously, it didn't work out today, but.
Yeah, I know.
You got your lady into it too?
Oh, she won't wake up, bro. She's still asleep right now. But once that pup gets a little bit bigger, I'm waking them all up.
That's a legitimate thing that I want to incorporate with my family too. Like I bring my kids out with me to the gym, and even if they don't do anything, which they don't, like I just throw on cartoons so they could watch me, you know.
Yeah.
One, so they could get motivated, and two, they start seeing the example being set in front of them.
Yeah.
Because whether you realize it or not, those little fools are watching you and everything that you do. So I don't think a lot of people account for that, and they wonder why, you know, me too, growing up obese is normal. And it's hard for, like, we were the last generation where kids went outside to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, they don't do that anymore, really. Not that I've seen.
Nope. And times have changed where, you know, anyone can get, like, there's just a bunch of weirdos out there now. Not that saying that there was back then, but I guess, I don't know.
I think about that. We didn't have phones, and I was unsupervised for like 8 hours a day. I remember going to like different cities with my friends on our bikes. It's like,
Yeah.
I can't even fathom that idea of letting my kids go out.
Heck no. I saw a little girl the other day walking home from school. And I'm like, what the heck? Is she by herself? But then I saw her little brother with her. And I'm like, oh, Heck no. Where were we? Oh, we were in Bellflower. Like 2 p.m. on a Friday. I'm just like, no way. I don't trust him at Costco. I'm like, get inside the cart.
We had a situation the other day where she's not gonna be named, but somebody that I'm married to lost my son inside of Aldi. So he took off and he's running around the aisle, and then it's like that thing where the aisle's in the middle and they just keep going around in a circle. So she jumps out of line, they're about to pay, and Erin thinks it's a game the whole time, and she's laughing, encouraging it.
Dude.
And then she's like, it's not funny. So finally this gentleman, he's like, hey, he's over here.
Yeah. I feel like I gotta find him as well. I don't know what's going on.
I'm just saying, the last podcast that we did, we were talking about who would take the L in situational awareness.
Oh my gosh. Bro.
And I think you have a fat L on your record right now. I think kids lost. You're 1-0 on the chalkboard.
Not me. It's when I leave. That's when all the kids get lost. I am very aware.
What was going on through your mind when you lost your kid? Let's give us some context. You were at a
Well,
park.
first of all, I had to find your kid first. Let's get that situated, because she was over there having a time of her life, like if it was a mom's day out. I don't even know where Erin was at the time. But when the kids have these park day parties, automatically I'm like, oh gosh, like. I never like birthdays at the park, and I get it. It's cheaper. There's no mess at your house. Shoot, I may even plan one in the near future. But it's like all hands on deck, especially with our group of friends. Everyone has like a ratio of 2 to 5 kids. So yeah. Usually staying at 4 corners of the playground. Like me, myself, I'm always like, looking around, what's going on? What weirdo is here? Who's here? Where's the exits,
It's a park.
And then,
Relax, dude.
Yeah, but always gotta be aware. But yeah, seeing yours take off the opposite way, and then me looking back at Rocio like, does she know? And then me looking at Uriah again, and him just taking off. And then I'm just like, is that him? He's going a little fast there. And the funniest thing is, I went after him. I was running after him because he was heading towards the parking lot, like where cars were coming down. And I'm running over there. I'm like, Uriah, stop. And I grabbed him. And there was like another party there. They're like, oh, good, you got him. He was taking off. I'm like, oh, yeah, you couldn't stop him.
Other people were just watching kids.
Going like, it's not my kid, but he's taking off somewhere. So I come back, and I'm looking at Rocio like, hey, your kid's taking off. She's like, oh. But then Hoffman was right next to me, and he was like, dude, that was the most slowest run I've ever seen. I'm like, shut up, idiot.
I just went back to Planet Fitness.
So I gotta get my energy up to chase after these kids, man.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
I was having this conversation with one of my coworkers, and he's like a bigger dude. He's like 6'3". He's like intense though, like one of those guys where he says something, you're just like, all right, I don't know if you're joking or not.
Yeah.
And he
I'm gonna
said,
shoot you one day.
he said, in that situation, like when his kids were smaller, he would be at a park and he'd be taking like mental inventory of like who's there, which kid goes with which parent. And then he said if he would see somebody who was like out of the picture, he'd be like just staring the whole through him like, I'm on to you, creep. I was like, shoot. Take it easy there, killer. Man, it feels like that's how you gotta be these days, though,
yeah, dude.
Unfortunately.
Anytime we get anywhere that's like outdoors or, somewhere that you really have to be aware, I always tell my oldest, like, hey, if you can't find us, like go to that spot right there. It's typically at a park. This past year, there's been a lot of park day birthday parties, so it's like, if you can't find this, go there. And also, like, if you can't find Zion, you know, tell us right away. Or anyone you see familiar with, like, go with them if you can't find us. You know?
Hey, but also watch your kids, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
So yeah, being very unaware. That's my wife.
Okay,
She's not
so
gonna
here's
hear
a
this,
story
but-
that I heard. I heard that you have 3 kids. That she had one in her arms. The
False,
oldest was
already
playing.
false.
Okay, let me tell you a story before you start declaring liars here. She had one in her arms. The other one was playing with her friends in the playground, and the other one was nowhere to be found, which so happened to be the one that took off. Is this true?
No.
So what's your version of the story?
My version, the true version of the story is, I'm in the playground again, all eyes. I know where my kids are at.
Sorry,
I know where,
hold on. Let me stop you right there, because I forgot to add an important detail. So, that situation, one in the arms, one's nowhere to be found, and the other one's playing on the playground. Then they said that you said, "All right, you got it," to your wife, as you went to go play basketball with the other dad. Is this true?
Me saying, "All right, you got it," that's true. No, but this is how it went. That's when they were giving out the ice cream and whatever, the dessert. So they said, "Oh, come get churros and ice cream." My kids love churros. I'm like, all right, fine. So I went over there with both my 2 oldest. They got their churro. They sat down, and I know when they're eating it, they're good. They're gonna sit down. They're not gonna move. They're gonna enjoy that dessert, and they're gonna listen no matter what. So both of them were sitting right next to each other. She had my youngest talking to another mom, and my youngest was on the playground just playing with the other kid. So I had to challenge Big Phil's boy because he kept talking trash and about basketball.
He's a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
Go on.
He kept saying, "Oh, I could beat you. I could beat you." I'm like, "Well, come on then." I took that personally. So as we're walking away, dude, I looked at her and said, "You got it?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "He's right there. She's right there. And then you obviously have him." And she said, "Yeah, got it." I'm like, "All right." Took off to the basketball court, 5 minutes. I'm looking over at Monkey from a very far distance, and I said, "Come on, come play. Like, let's get these 2s going." We had just got to the court. It's only been 5 minutes. And then that's when I see Monkey kind of like wave his hand, like, "Come over here." I'm like, "What's this guy talking about?" And then I see Nancy, "We can't find Zion." I'm like, "What?" So I'm running over there. I'm like, there's no way he can gone that far. Like, I just left. And I'm not even upset that he left. I'm more upset at Nancy because it's like, how did you let this happen? It only happens when I leave.
As you challenge a 9-year-old to a basketball game.
Which Phil was just trucking back and forth. It was hilarious. So I'm running around, and then I hear Monkeys like, "Check the restroom." And at this point, I'm kind of like, this kid, where the heck can he be? And then from a very, very far distance, there was a jumper, a huge like jumper at another party. And that's when Hoffman's like, "Let's check the jumper." And I know for a fact, and I'm like, "Oh, he's got to be in there." So then we're walking over there, and again, these clueless other parents that when they see random kids, they don't say anything. She literally said, Is this your son?" We were like, "What's this random boy doing here, taking off his shoes and jumping in the jumper?" We're like, "Okay, thanks." And sure enough, he was in there. That's when I was walking back with him, and I'm just telling him, "You don't do that." You know, obviously, he doesn't understand what's going on, but he knows the tone I have. So I'm walking back to the car, and I pass right by Nancy, and she's like, hey. And I look at her, I'm like, "No." Go to the car, and I just look at her, I'm like, "How did you let this happen?" And she's like, don't even get me started right now. So we're pretty on the edge the rest of the day. We went to another party, and the Hoy over there and saying nothing to her. I was upset, but there was a lot leading up to that week for her, like mentally wise. She was having like bad dreams, nightmares, so I was like, oh, I didn't want to say anything back to her. Obviously I did. I wanted to say like, you're such a dodo head, you're unaware, you never know anything and this and that. But I really had to hold back. But I just said it live on podcast, so.
We just got the true story.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Hey, but also, take your kid with you, right? Put an air tag on him or do something.
Dude.
Dog.
Oh, dog. That night, just chilling on the couch, I'm like, I think I'm gonna buy these air tags. So when we go to these parties, just like, put it in their shorts or duct tape it to their leg or something.
I seen this one on Instagram where they sewed it inside of the shoe.
Oh yeah?
I was like, all right. Yeah, that's a good idea until they go off into a jumper and take their shoes.
Yeah, especially parks like that. Like, I mean, the Santa Fe Springs Park, it's pretty closed off. Like, the exit is literally right behind you. But still, it's a pretty big park.
Yeah, and it's separated too by, there's like two sides to it.
Yeah.
It's like super long.
I remember we used to go over there just see those the couples making out back in the day.
And then that became one of them. It was full circle. Circle of life. I was thinking about that one park day. I don't know if you were there, but we were there, it was like early morning and we heard this loud crash. So going over to get into the park, actually it separates Pico from Santa Fe Springs. There's a bridge. And in order to hop that bridge that connects the cities, like it's a 3 feet high like step. I was thinking about this one time where this car jumped that and flipped over into the ravine.
What the heck?
Were you there that day?
I feel like I remember that story, but I don't think I was there.
I was like, God, how? I was driving by it the other day. I was like, how did this guy jump over this? Like, it's literally like this tall.
Yeah.
I was like, sheesh. It had to be intentional. But there was it actually happened a couple times on that bridge.
So many stories at that park. My mom told me the other day, she was like, oh, how was the park? I'm like, oh, we lost Zion. And then she was like, what? At that park? It's so enclosed. How'd you do that? But anyways, she was like, yeah, you remember like all those park days would say it was for homeschool? I'm like, yeah. She's like, we literally just really only had it just to hang out with the moms. I'm like, oh yeah, I could tell. When we were there, dude, we'd sit down and then they'll tell us, all right, go on. And they literally never checked on us like for the rest of the day.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, how are we still here? Like, especially with no air tags or nothing. Like, what the heck? These kids are soft.
No Find My Kid app.
Find My Kid. No moms were like, watch my kid.
Yeah. Homeschool meetings. They didn't do anything, bro.
All these titles for nothing that actually went on. That's funny. So when's the next pop-up?
May 13th.
May 13th?
Yeah.
What's on the menu? You decided?
It's an early event, so it's 9 a.m. to 1. So I'm gonna do a breakfast burger until probably like 10:30, and then the rest just smash burgers.
Nice. Have you thought about like what you want to do with this business?
I have. I think for me, I just want it to be so like not perfect, but like I want to have everything, like the correct things, like. So it's just like little things here and there that I'm thinking about. When I have the pop-ups at my house, especially the last one I did on last Sunday, a lot of people came through and big orders too. And I was like, shoot, I was kind of low on funds anyways. And then when that happened, it was like it took care of me the rest of the week.
That's cool. But I'm talking about like, as far as like, would you want to make this your full-time job someday?
Oh heck yeah, dude! I love that. But again, just thinking like I guess the logistics side of it. Like I'm always looking on, researching, food trucks or what to get, location-wise, everything that goes behind it. And then I think, was it 2 weeks ago? For Nancy's birthday, we went to a restaurant where they had a food vendor outside, and so I ordered my food, and it was like this nice, like mobile cart, and the lady, she's kind of up there in her age, and then she turned around, give the order to which I assume was her husband, and then there was like maybe 2 younger dudes, and then a younger girl there too. I'm like, I wonder if they're a family. So I just kind of asked her, I'm like, oh, so how'd you guys start? This and that. She's like, oh, well, my husband was from New Orleans. He was working at a restaurant, and then he had to move over to Cali because they were transferring him over. And they said it was just kind of like a culture shock when it came to like the New Orleans side of food. Like it wasn't it. And so he got all stressed out, had a stroke, and then was kind of just bedridden. And then he was just like miserable. And his wife, I forgot what she said she worked for, but something that involved like food trucks, carts, and stuff like that, where she like leases them, I guess. And then she told him like, why don't you just start your own thing? He was like, all right. So he did, and they got into a brewery, and then little by little, they went to corporate to do like an event. And I guess she's in corporate, and she's like, once you're in corporate, like, you're good because there's so many like connections that you can have. So the first 6 months, he got contracted with Amazon and Costco.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like to get his supplies and stuff. And then that's when they got the mobile cart. And he's like, yeah, and then we've just been doing breweries, then we got to wineries. I'm like, dang. And the food was really good too. It was just like New Orleans, like comfort food. And then I asked her, I'm like, well, how was it like when you guys first started, like when he wanted to do it? And he's like, well, we started in like doing our friends' parties and at the house with an Easy Up. I'm like, hey,
this sounds all too familiar.
Yeah. So that kind of, not kind of, but it did, inspire me to really, if I'm gonna do it, then let's do it,
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Hopefully it works out for you. Just don't be like all these other corporations where they start off good, but then they start getting greedy and they make it nasty later on. I feel like that happens in every industry, though. It's the same thing with barbering, too. It's like, for me, like why I cut hair, like you could be creative and it's fun and you're also like your own boss and stuff, but then it becomes like, I don't know, I don't want to generalize and say it's like everybody, but then you start thinking like, oh, I could get away with this. Like, this looks good enough. And then eventually like the quality starts going down. It's like, I never want to be like that. You know what I mean? So don't be like that with your food, dog.
Heck no, dude. I guess that's the cool thing about it too, is like when I got asked to do this event in Whittier, I'm like 9 a.m. and I'm over here thinking like, I don't know if anyone's gonna want a burger at 9 a.m. What am I gonna do? I'm like, oh, like I can do what I want, So let's throw breakfast on the menu. And then just experimenting with different stuff and playing around with it.
Have you been inventing like new items or anything?
Yeah, trying different blends of meat. Like I always want to use. I don't want to just get like any. I don't want to get great value brand of beef. Like I really want it to be like, hey man, just put some dollars in this beef to actually get good meat.
Are you a Wagyu type of dude?
I like Wagyu. I can't. It has to be mixed with something though. That's what I learned. If I'm gonna eat a burger out of it, because it's so much like fat that it shrinks up, and then it's just. I mean, that's really all it is. It's just like it's fat. It's good, it's really good. But yeah, this last one I mixed the Wagyu with the grass-fed beef, and it was really good.
I think the only really, and that's the thing too, is like I don't really know the quality like you would know, but I went to Glendale and I got a Wagyu burger, and it was okay. I just didn't like how it like broke apart every time you tried to pick it up.
And that's how, yep. Because it's super tender. I haven't had a Wagyu like steak because shoot, things are like $180, $100.
There's this on my bucket list. There's this spot in New York, and they had steaks there that were like $400.
Golly.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be anytime soon, but I want to experience what a $400 steak is supposed to taste like.
Is it wrapped in gold?
I don't know, man. I think it's just the way they're prepared and stuff that makes it different. But I remember I got steak confused with what's that other thing? We went to that steakhouse, Lowry's in LA, and I ordered whatever the item was. I forgot what it was, but it wasn't a steak. I ordered it medium rare, and they're like, "You sure?" I was like, "Yeah, why not?" So it comes back, it was like straight bloody pink. I tried eating a couple bites, I had to take the walk of shame, like, hey, I'm gonna need this cooked a little bit more. Forgive me, I'm used to getting Sizzler.
We went to for Nancy's birthday. We went to this breakfast spot called Toast, and
Toast.
Yeah, so we went.
Oh, Whittier.
Yeah. And she saw this. I think it's like steak and eggs on toast or whatever. I think it was filet mignon. But the way they had it, it was like a whole steak with an egg top, and it looked really good. I'm like, dang, I wanted to get that. But then they bring it to her, and it's already like diced. And you always get a steak medium. You said medium, but when they brought it over, it was like gray, overdone. We're like, what the heck? I'm like, why would you dice a stinking good steak like this? Like, it was all messed up. Some people don't know,
These rookies, they don't take the time to watch YouTube videos. Who are your influences in the game?
I'm watching Meat Church, Chud's Barbecue, and then I followed this guy for a while, but then I started watching his YouTube videos. It's Arnie Tex. He just looks like a tío out there with those huaraches. He has a thick mustache, and that's it. And then every time he talks, it sounds like he's whistling. So it's like, this guy's legit.
He's got it. I don't know what it is, but
fajitas. So he says. Yeah, those two main ones really, the Meat Church and Chud's.
Meat Church and Chud's. And what is it?
Chud's.
And what do they do?
They're all smoky meat. One of them's like, he goes off and on from like pellet grills, which are like the plug-in grills, to like a standard offset smoker. And his is very like, there's not a lot of editing in it, so it's just like you see it live, like how he's making it. There's no like, I guess, shortcuts or anything.
Production.
Yeah.
Fly on the wall.
Just a straight video.
Sounds familiar.
And then the other dude, he has a more like comedic view to it. And then his is he's just a dork really. But his is everything, like everything fire. There's no pallet grills, no nothing. It's like everything charcoal, everything wood.
When's the Geronch the Dad page going up on YouTube?
That's a whole other step. I wanted to get in the YouTube side of it, but it's like
It's a lot of work.
yeah, even editing just a reel, it's like an hour.
It gives me
do
an
the whole
appreciation, you know, because I do YouTube, obviously, and it gives me an appreciation for like the production behind it. That's not my style, what I wanted to do with it, but you know, when I first got into it, I was like, how hard could it be? And then within the first couple episodes, you're like, golly,
Yeah, dude.
I do just the basic, and it takes a long time. I can imagine how these 45-minute videos with all like the pop-ups in it, the
Yeah.
reference points. The sound alone was the hardest part.
Yeah.
I was like, golly.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too. If you don't have like really good audio, then it's just like, I'm not gonna watch this video.
Yeah. But we're here now. The goal is to get better at everything and everything. Barber, YouTube, life, watching our kids. What are the plans for today?
Well, Lakers game 1.
Oh my gosh.
So right after here, we're gonna go. Right after this, start prepping the meats. You know. So if you get hungry after, roll through.
All right.
Gonna have some tacos.
What's the process behind this setup? The taco.
So I think right now we have some masala and we have shrimp. So get home, take out everything, maybe start seasoning it, maybe a little marinade.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Get the sides ready. This way when all the food's done, it's just everything's ready to go.
Heck yeah, dude. Who you got taking it all? Don't say Lakers. I want a realistic take on it.
That is my realistic take, fool. Lakers.
Yeah, fool, you sound like a Cowboys fan. This is our year, fam.
Championship or bust.
Is there any like upcoming players on the Lakers that you think could uphold the mantle?
Heck yeah, dude.
Who's that?
Me? Austin Reeves, bro.
Austin Reeves. Listen, let's get through a full recreational game first before we start making claims that you're the next one.
Dude, we 2 weeks ago we lost a game that would take us to the championship for my adult league. You know, we didn't defend our title this year, but it's all right. So we were playing this young team, and they were just shooting the lights out. Every single three-pointer they were making, I was just like, damn, they're killing us. So we're down by like 25 with like 5 minutes left. And I look at the ref, I'm like, call it. And he's like, are you sure you want me to call it? I'm like, call it. So I was already pissed off because they were holding the ball. There's no shot clock. And we get back to the bench, and then all my teammates are confused. They're like, who called it? Who called it? I'm like, I called it. Why did you call it? We could have came back. I'm like, we're down by 25 with 2 minutes left, and they're holding the ball. There's no shot clock. What are we going to do? If you don't want to play, you can just sit your ass down, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, whatever, bro.
Take it easy there,
Yeah,
Joe,
it's
right?
just adult league. We'll be back next week.
Season starts again next week. Oh, I remember that. I don't even want to say season that I played with you, but the 3 games that I did, I was so glad that we had the high school kids. There was no way I was running up and down that court. Basketball shape is a complete different shape than like running.
And that was like 10 years ago. Imagine now.
No. I can't even run a mile without getting shin splints, so I think basketball's out of my
Being a
game.
senior citizen league.
Oh man.
Oh,
Well,
but that was a fun time. All you fools.
we'll end it right there, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Give the dates again. March what?
March.
Or May 13th?
May 13th, Whittier. Founders Day, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. There's also barbecue and food tacos. Tacos will be there too. Live bands. Support local businesses.
All right.